Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the What a Deck profile for Forbidden Princess Mill. Just gonna go through the cards here, say everything that's in here, and then I'll explain its role in the deck. So we've got 3 Pot of the Forbidden, 3 Spirit of the Tailwind, 3 Manju of the 10,000 Hands, 3 Prediction Princess Koinorma, 3 Prediction Princess Petalleaf, 1 Needleworm, 3 Prediction Princess Tarot Tray, 3 Pre-Preparations of Rites, 3 Prediction Ritual, 3 Book of Eclipse, 3 Swords of Concealing Light, 3 Waboku, 3 Threatening Roar, and 3 Sandstorm Mirror Force. As for the extra deck, the most important one is this Phantom Fortress Enter Blathnir. This is 2 level 9s. If you can get this with 2 Pot of Taboos, you could make this, or Pot of the Forbidden, sorry. Everything else, we've got some 4s and some 3s in here, so I just put a toolbox. Most of these you could just throw in whatever. The only really important ones are Fairy Cheer Girl, because both Spirit of the Tailwind and Manju are fairies, so you can make this and draw more, which you'll need to do. This deck is... Basically, the idea is you want to get out the Prediction Princess Ritual, because her effect is during the end phase, you can special summon one flip monster from your hand or graveyard, and during either player's turn, once per turn, you can either flip a monster face up or flip it face down. So we're going to use that to recycle Needleworm, which makes your opponent discard the top 5 cards from their deck to the graveyard, and you're going to recycle Needleworm over and over again, and that's how you're going to mill them to death. Mill them to death. So everything else here just sort of helps with that. Pot of Forbidden is in here, mostly because he's level 9, so you can use him as the entire tribute for Tarot Tray, and of course, then during the end phase, you can special summon it back onto the field and flip it face up to use its effect. Most of the time, I use this just to draw 2 cards, so it's a draw engine. You're getting more and more cards back. Of course, you can also keep it set, and then during your opponent's turn, flip it face up and activate any of the effects. The most important one being destroy all monsters your opponent controls. It's essentially just a Raigeki in a jar. The other 2 are of mild usefulness, but that one in particular, that one in the draw 2 cards, what you're using 90% of the time. If you're on the defensive, if you don't have any of these stall cards, then you're probably going to want to destroy all the monsters they have. Otherwise, just keep drawing 2 cards until you get Needleworm, and then flip Needleworm over and over again. Everything else just works with that. Spirit of the Tailwind lets you end any flip monster, so you're going to use that to get Pot of Taboos, most likely. Manju, of course, is going to get you either your Ritual Monster or your Ritual Spell. This Koinorma, when she's flipped, you can special summon 1 level 3 or higher flip monster from your hand or deck. So, setting her, you can get Pot of the Forbidden straight out of your deck. Of course, you can't activate monster effects for the rest of the turn that you use this, except for Prediction Princesses, so be careful with that. If you set this and summon Pot of Forbidden and your opponent attacks it, they will not be able to, you won't be able to activate the effect. Alternatively, Prediction Princess Petalleaf, you can change, when it's flipped, you can change all attack position monsters your opponent controls to defense position, and they cannot change their battle positions, ever, as long as they're face up on the field. So this is a really good stall card. If your opponent has a whole bunch of really high attack point monsters, let Koinorma get flipped, and then go into this, because this will put them in defense mode, they won't be able to attack. You don't really want to destroy monsters your opponent has, you want to keep them on the field, and hopefully just keep them face down or in defense position so your opponent can't do anything with them. And then you're going to mill while you're safe. It's the same as like my Ghost Trick Mill deck, annotations to that. So that's all the monsters. Pre-preparation of rites. This is going to let you add both your ritual and your ritual spell. Very good. This is coming out in the next set. So this isn't out yet, but it will be out soon. I'm not sure if it'll be banned, but that's the side deck, is basically just other cards you could replace that with. The ritual, of course, you need to get your ritual monsters. Book of Eclipse, really good. Going to change all monsters on the field to face down defense position. That's let you reuse Needleworm. That lets you reuse Pot of the Forbidden. It, of course, puts all your opponent's monsters in defense position so they can't attack. And during the end phase, all your opponent's monsters will be flipped face up, and they'll get to draw 1 card for each, which can be bad at the beginning of the game, but if you're milling them down and they've only got like 6 cards left, then this can be really good, having them draw through 5 cards. Swords of Concealing Light, of course, will flip all your opponent's monsters into defense position, and they can't change their positions. Waboku, you take no battle damage, and your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. And of course, you can chain this at any time. This will stop your Needleworm and your pot from being destroyed. It'll also save Prediction Princess for another turn, and then you could Concealing Light or do something else. Threatening Roar, obviously just stop you from being attacked in general. Also can be chained at any time. So if they Twin Twister, just activate Threatening Roar. And Sandstorm Mirror Force, the ultimate stall card. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you change all attack position monsters to defense position, and they cannot change their battle positions. I should note that that only counts as long as they stay face down. If you use like Book of Eclipse and they get flipped face up, it doesn't count as being Sandstorm Mirror Force. They can change their battle positions next turn. So you want to be careful with this. And that's pretty much that's pretty much the whole deck. Like I said, everything else in here is a toolbox. The only other thing is the side deck. There's a couple other options. If you wanted to replace Needleworm, you could make this a more attack-heavy deck, because this can destroy all monsters. This can return 3 monsters on the field. If you put in Hade instead of Needleworm, because it'll work exactly the same with Tarot Tray's effect, and you could just send 3 monsters on the field back to the hand, and then send all their spell traps back to the hand with his effect, and just attack directly for a crap ton, and just keep flipping this every turn. Very mean. Alternatively, if you wanted to do a burn deck, you could swap out Needleworm with Death Koala, which is especially good because if Book of Eclipse is going to be making them draw a whole bunch. Then you could do this and do 400 damage for every card in their hand. This might actually be even faster than the milling. I'd be interested to see someone try that out and see how that works. And then, of course, pre-preparations of rights. This is not out yet. If you wanted to make this deck now in real life, probably want to replace this with like Upstart Goblin. Probably going to be your fastest, or maybe Senju of the 10,000 Hands. It only lets you get the Ritual Monster, but it's faster. It'll just go through your deck. You've also got this other Prediction Princess that lets you add a Ritual Spell, and it's level 4. There's a Prediction Princess that's level 5 that lets you add the monster, but that's not really... This is probably superior to that in every way. And then, also, Spirit of the Tailwind is not in the TCG yet. That's coming out in the same set that this is. I don't think this has a chance to be banned as much, so you probably won't have to worry about that. Just wait a week. But if you want to play this like right this moment, Gishki Chains, another good option. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. If there are any ritual monsters or spells, add them to your hand. So this will speed it up. Because you're milling, you can play Upstart Goblin. If you want to, Ghost Trick Museum's another good thing. It'll put your opponent's monsters in defense position, and it'll allow you attack directly if you're doing a more attack-centric. And then the final, I put this in here. This can be a really good card, a one-of, especially if your opponent has monsters that you really can't afford to leave on the field. It's destroy as many defense position monsters your opponent controls and inflict 500 damage. This, especially in combination with Death Koala, you could make a really mean burn deck. Which I probably should have, now that I think of it. But, you know, whatever. It worked well as a mill deck. So I hope you guys enjoy. Next week, I'll be doing something even weirder than this. So until then, good luck and have fun.